Hello and welcome to another edition of Up the Pilgrims. This is the podcast of Boston United and I'm happy to say of the National League. I am joined as usual by David and welcome back from his holes to Steaders. And we've got a first today because we've got a guest for the second time. Some call him Sir, some might call him a magician, who knows. But we call him the Boston United manager, Graham Coughlan. And we've also got the assistant manager, Bullen. And we've got Jamie Raynor here as well. Hello guys, welcome to Up the Pilgrims.
Thank you.
And I want to start off by obviously congratulating you all and the team on the remarkable feat of staying in the National League this season. I know there were a lot of doubters, especially being 12 points adrift in February, but what an achievement, Graham.
Yeah, this was it was a massive achievement from everybody involved in it. It was more than a miracle really, to be honest, but fair play. A lot of hard work, a lot of graft has gone in, and the players deserve all the credit. In fairness to them, they've really bought into what we've asked, and you can obviously see the results and the performances that they've been putting in, and it's been tough. It has been tough for them. They have worked hard. They've worked on days that should have been off, and they put in extra hours, and they got that just reward. So fair play to each and every one of them. They've all played a massive part.
Brilliant. And of course, last Saturday night, a few of the players danced the night away in Islanders. But how was your Saturday night, and how was it waking up Sunday morning, knowing that that's one less thing on your mind?
Well, look, Saturday night was quiet. We had a couple of beers downstairs with the fans after the game. Obviously, I had me missus and me daughter with me, so we got back for the boxing, and then my son was running the marathon on the Sunday morning. Sorry, so I was probably the only Boston United player, staff, fan that didn't have a hangover. So I had to go with my lads. My son ran the marathon Sunday morning, so that was another achievement that I was immensely proud of. So I think Bully mentioned the other day, if Carlsberg done that weekends, I echo that, to be fair. It was a great weekend, to be honest.
And how was your weekend, Lee?
You know what, it was more relief than anything else. It wasn't a case of going crazy on the beer or the alcohol on the Saturday. I had to shoot off and get back for my kids, to be honest with you. But it sounds strange, actually. I mean, the gaffer talked about it being a miracle on Saturday, but when you actually say that, I didn't realise it was 12 points adrift in February. So that's basically in the space of 2 months, we've made that up and got ourselves safe with a game to go. So there's no doubt it's a miracle. To produce that type of results that the boys put together was phenomenal, to be honest with you, and to be part of that and play a small bit in it along with Jamie and Gaffer and all the rest of the staff was, I don't know, that's one of the highlights of my coaching career, 100%.
Brilliant. And Jamie, how was your Saturday?
It was good. I mean, I had a couple of mates at the game, so I had a good moment on the pitch after the game, in that moment of celebration. It was great. It's probably the highlight of my career coming out of youth football, so I didn't get on the beers or anything like that, but it was certainly a good Saturday for sure.
So you know straight away he's telling lies. The first part, a couple of mates.
Yeah.
We know that can't be.
Never one drink.
Yeah, there was no beers involved.
And there was no mates.
That bit.
All right, yeah.
I mean, the last few games obviously weren't for the faint-hearted either. We beat Wealdstone in front of a record crowd. Then had last-minute goals scored against us at Solihull before beating Gateshead at the Jakeman's, obviously in front of another bumper crowd. But we've not made it easy for ourselves, have we, at times?
Well, if you're mentioning 12 points adrift, no, that's not easy.
It's not, is it?
Yeah, look, that happens in football. Sometimes it's good and it's bad, and you know, thank God the Monday game at Solihull, the result wasn't too catastrophic, because the way you lost, the way we lost the game, the last throw, shall we say, not last kick, last throw of the game, it was tough to take. But like I said after the game to the lads, we're all hurting and it's stung, but we'd won games like that ourselves, and we know what it feels like to be on the other end of it. But we got a taste of our own medicine. But again, I must compliment the players. Every time we've had a setback, every time we've had a bump in the road, the players have bounced back. The players bounce back, and it's unbelievable character, unbelievable resilience, and unbelievable quality from the change room to be able to bounce back after defeats like the way they have. I think every game, I think we lost 4 games or something like that, and every game they went on, and not only won 1, but I think they won 2 and 3 as they put little runs together. And you can't underestimate the strength of the character, strength of the individual, and the strength of the dressing room.
And of course, after the game, a video was going online of Pitchside Pilgrim, James Lovelace, who does a fantastic job at all of the games, and there was a clip of you at the end in the dressing room with the players as well. And you were quite emotional with the players as well. I don't know if you've seen the clip or not. And you were quite emotional with the players, saying how proud of them you were. I mean, is that a side that they often see of Graham?
It got me. It did get me. I have to be honest. It got me. And then again, I mentioned my son. Sunday got me as well. Seeing my son cross the finish line in the marathon. So yeah, it was emotional. I don't normally get emotional. You probably, I suppose, you have to put on this persona, don't you? But yeah, look, it was the players. I was so proud of them. I was so proud of them. And it's difficult. How do you actually tell people? How do you actually, we're males. We're not supposed to be going around hugging each other and kissing each other, patting each other on the back. Who does that? But yeah, I was really, really proud of them, and the staff were excellent as well. And it's very difficult to actually show or to tell people, to reward people. It is difficult to do. But yeah, it got me, the whole lot, the whole group, and even the fans, shook the fans in as well, because we wouldn't have been able to do it with them. I know I'm a broken down record, I know I keep repeating myself, but the times we lost games, they picked us up, they cheered us off the pitch, and for us 3 guys coming in on a Monday morning then, after that result, after that defeat, it was an easy job. It was an easy job to pick the lads up and get them going again. We all would have been in football, we all know football, and sometimes it becomes toxic, it becomes horrible, it becomes a place that robs your confidence. You don't want to go into work when you're not winning, or when you're 12 points adrift, or so forth, cases like that. But our fans were unbelievable. They were unbelievable. They cheered us. Every effort that we put in, they could see, and they appreciated it. And they made our jobs really, really easy on a Monday morning. We didn't have to go in and pick up a changing room on a Monday. The fans had done that on a Saturday at 5 o'clock by cheering the lads off the pitch. And the results and the campaign was as much theirs as it was the players.
Just on that as well, one word I've used on a few posts in I do a bit of social media if you didn't know, but a little bit, but small parts. But mentality was the word that I used a lot, and the mentality. I mean, me and David I've done more away games and home games this season, but we went to Southend, and we also went to Oldham, and the Oldham game was the 4-0, obviously, the drubbing we got. But like you said, it was the mentality of the players to come back and to not accept that result, but to put it right the next time. You went to Tamworth. I didn't go to Tamworth.
That's on my birthday.
The 18th birthday. I went with all his family to Tamworth, and we've had lows, haven't we? But like you say, it's the mentality to get into the players' heads. You even complimented the old management regime a lot as well in one of your last interviews, which I thought was fantastic, because I think you said that what a great job they did before you even came in terms of the players that you had. I just feel as though maybe he was a good coach. Of course he's a good coach, in Culverhouse is. Yeah. I just don't think he knew how to use his cards. I think he knew what cards he had, but I don't think he knew how to play them. All of a sudden, you got them played right. You made the right decisions. You got players in which complemented other players. Players in positions that centre of midfield, centre back, holes in the team that we could see as fans we had. But then you found I don't know how you managed it, but the loan signings you bought in have been absolutely fantastic, and the additions to the squad that you've made have all hit the ground running and all banged straight into the philosophy. Not even hitting, like I said, nobody's really taken time to get into the team or bed themselves in, have they? I can't think of one. Not really had a chance. When you see the likes of James Gale scoring that winning goal, when Jacob Hazel goes down as a fan, you instantly think, oh no, what's going to happen here? Yeah. But we forget we've got such a talented guy on the bench that can come on and change games and score goals and winning goals in big games, and it just seems like you just knew what cards to play at the right time, where Whereas it just at the start of the season, I think we can agree they just didn't know what to do.
Didn't know.
When we were going behind in games, especially, you know what I mean. There didn't seem to be that plan B where they could change it, and all of a sudden there'd be a response or a result come from it. They just, like I said, I think they had the right cards. I just didn't think they knew how to play them.
He must have done something right. He got the team promoted. He got
100%.
the club promoted last year. So I'm always going to stick up for a football man, or stick up for a manager, or someone who puts their head above the parapet. And full credit to them for doing it. I think it was 14 years or something like that the club was absent from the National League, and he's managed to get the club promoted, so he deserves a massive pat on the back, and he couldn't have been all that bad if you know what I mean. He's done a really good job. Sometimes it happens in football, it goes against you and you just can't get a tune out. And all those nice things you're saying about the players, the staff, the fans and myself, let's have it right. They wouldn't be said if the end result or the outcome wasn't the desired one. So football is fine margins, and it's a tough place to be at times, but it's a great place to be when things go well. But it is a tough place to be when things are not going your way. But I would always doff my cap to any manager, any coach who goes in, puts his head above the parapet, particularly a manager who could get a team promoted. I think that's a special achievement, to be fair.
Can I ask you guys a question on that?
Yeah, go for it.
See, this time, or February last year, so February this year we're 12 points off. See, February last year, did you think we were going to get promoted?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
So it's a hell of a run they've gone on.
It is.
And Ian and his staff deserve a lot of credit for that. Now, it was unexpected.
Yeah.
That's definitely from you guys' point of view. So going through playoffs as well, it knocks you back 3 or 4 weeks in relation to trying to prepare for the. They'll have been preparing for the National League North and getting their ducks in a row in relation to signings. Instead, they've suddenly had to change tact and try and put a group together that can handle it. Now there's a big difference from week to week, and then on top of that, they go and get hit square between the eyes with the first few games they've been given. You Forest Greens and. So is it
that's right, yes,
it was a 3-0, a 4-0, a 2-0.
It was.
And suddenly it must have been like, oh my
wow.
God, what's going on here?
It was.
And you've got a group of players who surprised themselves to get up, and now they're hit with that. Now, that is very, very difficult to turn that confidence issue round to get it going, and maybe that was the biggest issue. But what the job him and his staff did to get the team up were phenomenal, so you can't disregard that in any way whatsoever.
No, and to be fair, I think even coming up to the last game of the season, we weren't sure, were we, if we were even going to make the playoffs. You know, it just sort of happened right at the last minute. So then obviously we had the 3 games, which we obviously got through on penalties, and then obviously won the Brackley game. And then like you say, there was less time then to prepare for the new season. So
and I think a lot of fans don't really get to see all that, do they? Or you know, you only get to see results, you only get to see performances, and not like Lee and Bully just said. He just said, you know, we don't, as fans, we don't get to see all that, or think psychologically about how it goes. Do you know what I mean, or how it pans out in that sense. So, but it's got to be kudos to them guys as well. They did a fantastic job for us, and I actually messaged Bazza before his last game for St Albans, because unfortunately they got relegated.
They
last
did,
weekend,
unfortunately,
didn't they?
yes.
So I did message Bazza and wish him luck, and just say, because he's a local legend. The guy's played Football League appearances higher than anybody else in football, which is mental to think about, isn't it, really? You know, and he comes from Boston. And he's a window cleaner, you know what I mean, by trade. But he's just a guy that we love, and like you say, you know, we can never take that away from them, what they did or what they achieved either, can we? You know what I mean? And as fans, I hope that a lot of them don't, and I hope, you know, and hopefully this is just another stepping stone on that, and obviously remaining. I mean, some fans would even say that remaining in the National League is probably a bigger feat than getting up to the National League. So you know, I mean, that's open to topic and debate, but
it is, of course. When you were on in January with us, you actually said that if the players avoid relegation, they could all get extended contracts. So have you approached the chairman as yet?
I don't remember being on in January.
There's a lesson in there somewhere, isn't there?
It must have been a different podcast.
But a few weeks ago, the chairman, David Newton, spoke on local radio about various subjects. Bits and bobs stood out, including the fact that you would be staying at the club next season and obviously going full time. So, are you going to be at the club next season?
Well, if the chairman said it, it must be right then. Who knows? Let's have a sensible discussion about the team, the achievements, and the players. Let's not turn it into a personal
Right.
I don't like getting embarrassed when I start talking about that like that.
Okay, well, we'll go on the assumption that hopefully you will. And obviously, did he speak to you about going full time? Because obviously it's something he said he's thought about, he's spoken to previous managers. Did he speak to you, or was it just a decision from the board?
No, we had discussions. We have discussions about everything. We have good, healthy debates about everything football related. So yeah, I was aware of his thought process. He actually mentioned it to me when we sat down. The first time I've met him and Neil, they mentioned that was back in, was it November? When he sat with us and spoke about coming in. So he had that on the agenda, and it was always a long-term ambition of his, and he's obviously hoping to see it through and take the club on full-time at the start of next season.
Fantastic. And obviously you guys know each other from your days at Sheffield Wednesday, and you know you've gone on to both of you've gone on to gain managerial positions elsewhere, and obviously Jamie helping as well, but how much have you helped each other behind the scenes, Jamie?
Does it say Jamie's a Sheffield United fan on that?
No, it doesn't, no.
Are you a Blade?
I'm a Blade, yeah.
That was a Blade.
Don't let anybody know.
Oh dear.
That was
Oh.
close. Is that alright? Is that
There's friction between you two.
You just write it.
No, I think that is something that, you know, we've got to look at and touch upon, because, you know, Lee, you've obviously had your managerial experience, Graham's had his, Jamie, I believe you just, well, obviously this is from me looking at my perspective, we've mostly had, you know, a career in youth football. I'd like to know how this has worked so quickly and you all come through the door, because, you know, having you all to come together as a team and produce what must be one of probably the most amazing of escapes in recent league history. I'd just like to know how you'll sort of complement each other and who picks up different things, because from the outside looking in, it probably, you know, it looks a bit wishy-washy, and people said that on social media, that, you know, the dynamic and, you know, picking people up and putting them together, but it's just worked, and I think that's just testament to each and every one of your characters, that you're all so strong-willed and you've managed to galvanise this club and get us out of a dark place and drive us forward. But I just want to know how you sort of bounce off each other and how each of one of your roles behind the scenes work. Hello, Lee.
We just decide on everything, and if it goes wrong, we just blame
Tamworth was his fault, yeah?
So Tamworth, Oldham. It's his fault he never wants to go like that. But just joking apart, and again, I'll let the gaffer go on in a minute. I think I'll embarrass him a little bit, but he, not as much as he is unplayed, we do have our banner, and he's been different class for us. He's the one that sort of knew little bits and pieces around the club for the gaffer coming in, myself as well. Massive help and everything like that. He's an excellent coach and fully deserves the opportunity in the first team environment, 100%. He does a brilliant job still with the academy. He's got about 4 plates spinning at the same time. So he's been a massive crutch for us coming in. There's new guys into it. We've got the mutual respect of having played together and been in the same teams together and everything like that. But Jamie was a new face for us, but we've just got on like a house on fire, and it really is. He's been absolutely brilliant for us coming in to a new club and a new environment.
Brilliant. Graham?
The house has been on fire a few times. You make a decision and these two gang up on you, and you soon change
That's
your
true as
decision.
well.
Listen, it's been different class. The dynamics, as I say, has been perfect. The experience has been perfect. I've done it many a time before. Lee Mansell has come in and helped myself and Joe Dunn at Bristol Rovers, and Daff Williams has come in and helped at Newport. So having that dynamics, having that younger, fresher, better looking coach than myself always helps you. So listen, the great minds think alike. We all wanted the same thing at the end of the day, but it's the dynamics, as we mentioned, is really strong, really powerful, because we've got probably from different generations. Jamie certainly would be. He probably sees the game a little bit different, whereas us old timers, we see it through black and white, through our lenses. Jamie probably sees it through the modern day lens, if that makes sense. So the dynamics was really strong, really effective, and as I say, he's been brilliant with the lads, both Jamie and Lee, to be fair. So, and it's not easy. It's not easy when you're a young coach. I had to do it myself, and I'm sure Bully had to do it. when you're a young coach and you're going in and you're trying to get the respect of the first team, you're trying to get that seniors to buy in, and you put your sessions on and things like that, and you always question yourself. But Jamie's been spot on with them. The lads have been great with him as well, and I love watching him. I love watching him coach because he's a really good coach. In fairness to him.
Brilliant. And Jamie, your turn to shine. The floor is yours.
I'm just trying to help out. So I joined the club in September as head of football for the community, obviously in the academy.
Yeah.
The youth teams under 19s coach. Obviously with the previous guys going out, I took on the 23s, and obviously with Gaffer coming in, that's going to help out. So it's been a massive whirlwind experience. But even if I weren't coaching, I could just watch from the outside. You learn loads from these two. You can't beat the experience you get in the game when you play the level they have and coach the level they have. But fair play, they do listen to us and do take my opinions on board. Lee tried to shut me off, but that's just me for you. But I've loved it. I just try and help out and do whatever needs to help the club and help the Gaffer in there.
Brilliant. And I just want to actually say at this point, congratulations to Lee, because this past Monday you were put into the Hall of Fame at the Star Sheffield's 24-25 Football Awards.
Yeah.
As well, so a great honour.
Surprise, a wee bit embarrassing because some of the big names that's gone before it. I'm just some wee guy from a town called Pennycook outside Edinburgh, coming down to Sheffield, spent 21 years in Sheffield now, 16 years at the football club in various capacities. So, now really humbling, really nice thing to be acknowledged for. So, yeah. That's where the calls for the weekends. Perfect weekend, topped off with that on Monday night as well. So it was nice going along to that, knowing that we succeeded and what our target was here at Boston, and being able to sit down and enjoy. I did a lot of beer that night.
Just one or two.
Yeah.
And have you had a chance to think about players you might be ready to try and persuade to come to South Lincolnshire? Obviously, it's not an easy place to attract players, is it? Is that something you thought about yet, or?
Again, look, it's let's savour the moment. Let's enjoy. You never get a chance in football. You never get a chance to enjoy the moment, enjoy the achievement. You're always thinking of the next session, the next match, the next system, next formation. I was determined, and I said it going home to Mrs. and my daughter in the car on Saturday night. The two of them were try and enjoy, try and have a week or two, try and enjoy.
Yeah.
The season isn't even finished, and we're wanting to jump on people's futures and who we're bringing and who we're not bringing. There's a great group of lads in that changing room, and I've said that from early, and they've achieved, as I say, a near miracle. I want them to enjoy it as well. I want them to savour that moment as well. But the majority of the players that have helped us will be here next season, because there's a really good, harmonious bunch. There's a work rate, an attitude, a commitment in that changing room that you can't put money on, you can't buy, you can't replace. So the majority will be here next year, and we'll try and add, which is natural. We'll try and add to the group. We'll try and make the group stronger. But I think it's important that we all enjoy what the moment now, because we work so hard to get it. I wouldn't like to just gloss over and it passes, and all of a sudden we're talking or we're into next season. Let's have a couple of weeks, and we can all just cherish the moment, because as you say, we at Boston United don't do things the easy way.
No, of course not. Now, it's a question for Jamie, and you come up with this one, Steaders. So, do you want to?
Yeah. It's just really about the player pathway, isn't it? Really about and how you found it here at Boston United, and will you be using that to utilise players if they show enough ability to hopefully go into the first team squad? I mean, we've had some pretty decent results from it, I think, over the last few years, to be honest with you. Are you hoping that the player pathway can then, with you being ahead of football, then evolve even further?
It's genuinely a really good pathway. I left the Championship Premier League club Norwich City to come here for that reason. It's a good pathway. A lot of football league clubs and certainly non-league clubs don't have a 23s and have a strong 17, 18, 19s pathway, and all we have that, so we'll get players through. We'll be a route for players coming out of other clubs as well. We want to try and grow our own players that are local to Boston. We probably haven't done that in recent years. We've had success. You've got Jake Lovelace that's gone through as a local lad, Dylan Hill, Jacob Scott obviously this year as well, come from different clubs, but that will be a route for some. It's a club that is a pathway that needs developing still. We need to get more coaches, better coaches, a better structure, but ultimately it's in a really good place, and you've already had the benefits of that in recent years, getting players like Dill through and Scotty, so it will certainly work. It just needs a little bit of growth still, and long as the manager lets me put some in training and they do all right, then we'll get from free. So
that's a key factor. You need a manager who's willing to give the youngsters an opportunity, and he's done that at his past clubs. So there's no reason we shouldn't be able to bring through the lads that are shining in the academy through into the first team. He's always in a pre-season, because we've discussed this bit a little bit, he's always liked to have 3 or 4 younger boys come and do the pre-season with the first team as well, lads that Jamie recommend and deserve the opportunity, and more often than not 2 or 3 of these lads end up staying with the first team squad. So yeah, it's in a decent place in relation to player pathways here at this football club, definitely.
Brilliant. And obviously your son's in the youth ranks, isn't
he?
He
is,
so
yeah.
Oh, that's why you're
level
talking
at the minute, but I bought him.
Does he want to come in for
careers
pre-season training?
I'll speak to Jamie afterwards about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Right, so,
Yeah.
No, we came out of careers night as well, and he's really looking at coming back and doing the business side of it. But he loves, it's his club, it's his one and only. So
yeah.
I only bought him in this season, but that's enough for this podcast. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, we'll talk about another podcast later on.
Are all of you guys Boston born and bred?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So why Boston for you then?
I moved here about 10 years or so
Oh,
ago,
okay.
and just started following local clubs. So yeah.
That's good.
So we've asked some fans online if they've got any questions for you guys, and the first one was from William Horn, and he's asked, are there any of the current players on loan to us joining us next season?
Best ask Jamie.
We could probably answer that now. After what I said earlier, it's the same similar answer to earlier, isn't it? You know, let's enjoy it. I think that's Graham said it. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Fans, the season's not even over
Exactly.
yet. We're talking about people's futures and
The biggest point of that question is ultimately they're not our players.
yeah,
No,
exactly.
it's
That.
up
So
to
you
the other
can't.
club.
Whether I'd like to bring them or not,
Yeah.
they are down to the other club, and
Yeah.
obviously the player as well.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
I think most of the players that have come in have seemed to have enjoyed themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they've done really well as
And
well.
that also helps as well.
Related to that, then, just a question on that as well is the squad. Some of these guys as well. I mean, in the current squad, they probably give you even more headaches going forward because now they've, we announced full time, didn't we? We've gone on this run. We've done this fantastic, miraculous escape. To me now, I think it's a fantastic headache to have. But now you've got 15, 16, 18 lads already that you could say bang, 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 perfectly placed to play in this league. So all of a sudden you've got a great like nucleus to start with, haven't you?
Yeah.
And like I say, guys want full-time football's not going to suit everybody, and that's the thing, is it? You know what I mean? And that's the harsh reality of it. It's not going to suit everybody because some people like having a part-time job. Some people like spending more time with their families. Some people use this as a way to get away from their families.
Yes.
But you know what I'm saying by that? Do you know what I mean? So full-time football's not always going to be what they wanted or suited to them. But all of a sudden, like I say, there's now got 18 guys running through brick walls for him. And then you're going to add people onto that as well. But it's only going to make the squad stronger, surely, Graham, isn't it?
Well, in theory, that's a perfect scenario. As Bully said, the players that are on loan are not our players to make decisions upon. So we'll have to see how that pans out when they go back to their clubs. But like I said earlier on, I touched on it earlier on, the majority of the lads that we've got in the squad at the minute, we will be looking to do our best to try and keep. If we can revisit those loan players, we certainly would, because they haven't let us down. And that's the hard part of football. You've got 18, you've mentioned 18, 19, 20 players. 18 don't go into 11, and it's tough, and 20 don't go into 18. So there's always going to be one or two disappointed, and one or two that feel a little bit aggrieved. So it's tough that scenario when you're trying to pick a team and you're trying to pick a squad. And just last week we left one or two of them lads out of the squad, and it was tough. It's tough, and people don't see that, and you just want the best for them all. But the ones that are left out, they probably won't see it that way. So it's it's not an easy not an easy task trying to pick 11 from the 18 that we've got, or trying to pick the 18 from the 20.
One of the biggest issues we're going to have as well, and I mentioned it in my pre-match interview, is that because they've done so well, other clubs will start sniffing about your players, and that's the side of things that you've got to deal with as well. And that's the negative side of such a positive finish to the season.
Yeah.
The players have put themselves now up on a pedestal, and that other clubs might think, geez, they've got good players there. So that's another thing that He's going to have to have it. Me and Jamie are fine.
Of course. And I've had Sophie Gash contact us, and she's asked, what was the biggest challenge in changing the culture amongst the players?
The personnel. The personnel. You'll not be able to change a culture if you can't change the personnel, or you can't change the mindset. Once you change the culture, then the environment then grows, harnesses and seeps through into the environment. The environment then becomes so much more positive, honest, hard working. So yeah, just trying to change. We mentioned the word mindset, mentality. Just trying to change the mindset, the mentality. Trying to get the lads believing that they can win football matches. Trying to get them that self-belief. Trying to get them that confidence. And I think we mentioned running through brick walls as well. That's not an easy task. That's not something that you're born with, or that's not something you're given. That has to be nourished. That has to be harnessed, and that has to grow. And I think just over the course of time, the weeks and the months, the gym sessions, the training sessions, the camaraderie they had with the coaches, the sessions that was put on for them, the benefit that they were getting out of their work. I think they started to buy in, they started to believe, and you could slowly see the culture changing. So yeah, you have to affect the person before you can affect the culture and the environment. So one leads to the next. So affecting the person positively first, and then affecting the culture, and then obviously when the culture starts to change, the environment starts to blossom.
Of course. And Ian Gatwood has asked, what was the real turning point to change your form which led to the run of results? Was it a team meeting, training, or whatever that turned a squad devoid of confidence and tactical know-how into the squad we have seen performing and getting results that have kept us in the National League? And looking to next season, what do you think you need to go one step higher and possibly aim for promotion?
That's not one step higher.
That's a lot of steps.
That's a lot of steps, isn't it? That's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Do
you want Bully to answer that?
All of our different ideas, because
Yeah.
you have your own opinions
Yeah,
in relation
yeah.
to the thing. It might
Yeah.
have been that for me. I'm looking back, and it could be that one result at Gateshead for me.
Right.
The away game up at Gateshead, where Gateshead are right up there and amongst it. Got to the final last year, but
Is that in the cup?
got to play up in the cup
game,
and things
yes.
like that. It was
Yeah.
in the cup game. I don't know, maybe that one result, that one performance might have just given the lads that, talked about belief and believing that they can do it. Thought, hang on a minute, we can match one of these best sides, and they've done the double over York. Was it that? I don't know. It's something, I don't know. What was the turning point for you?
I probably would say the Tamworth defeat. It just seemed to me it was a really bad day.
Let's look at the negative, yeah.
Well, it was a bad performance, but I think that kind of
The way they bounced back from
the
that.
way they bounced back from that, yes.
Yeah,
and I
makes
think from then on, they just seemed to. I mean,
What would you say?
you couldn't get much lower.
Yeah.
Well, I've always kind of thought filed away was a big one for
Yeah,
us.
you
I
have
thought
always said
Yeah, that was a
it
good
was
one.
an
What
awful
a great
game.
night.
It was miles away. It was freezing.
It
And
was.
we scored 2 early goals. That was probably the first time I was really taken aback by the fans and how loud they was after the game. I thought actually that this could really help us. And you see the lads just a little turn of confidence. Hey, he got 2 goals and he then went on a good run of form. I think that for me that could. I don't know if that was before or after the Gateshead game, but
Go on then, give us it. What's the turning point for you?
I'm going to say getting the 2 lads in, obviously. Because they're buying dinner tonight. So. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many turning points. There's so many occasions that you thought, oh, that's brilliant. But I don't know. Probably the one unbelievable result. We're here that one evening we beat Southend 3-0, and I think really that night, to play against a top quality team like that and to come out 3-0 on top, I think I came off the pitch that night and I thought, we're going to do this. We're definitely going to do this. And I thought really, really assured and really confident. And I really said, wow, let's get our teeth right into this. But yeah, look at Jamie spot on with Foyle and Bully spot on with Gateshead. They were all turning points. But I think slowly building you could slowly building the confidence and the mentality and things like that. But getting 1 or 2 players in as well. We've brought some fresh legs in at that stage of the season, which is probably vital. The squad's probably a small squad, probably needed a little bit more legs, a little bit more energy. So there's loads of little individual bits and pieces. Don't forget the clean sheet at Barnet and the Cam Gregory save at York and Hazy's goals are foiled, you know. There's lots and lots of moments for me, to be honest. Gailey's finish at Sutton was at home, 2-1. Rowie last minute down at Aldershot. Look, you could be here all night. To pick one incident out or to one moment out would be unfair. But I don't know. I don't think there was a definitive moment. I look back and I think we had a game called off. Was it on a Tuesday away at Wheelstone? The second time it was called off. And Jim let us on the pitch here with nowhere else to train. And Jim let us on the pitch, and it was 3:30 in the afternoon. All the players had gone to their meeting points, and it must have been tough on the players to be told, make your way back to the stadium. We're training, and we put training back 1:30. We put it back to 2:30. We put it back to 3:00 till everybody got here. But the training session that day, when the players walked through the door, I could see they were a little bit annoyed the game was called off, a little bit annoyed that they were called in to train. But them extra hours, them extra yards, them extra inches always helps. And I thought it was a really, really strong training session from them. I don't know whether that helped, but we got on a little run after it. So who knows? It could be any one of, I could be barking up the wrong tree, but who knows? I think it's a subjective question and subjective answers really as well.
Yeah, and thank you to Jacob and for Sophie, who also put in them questions as well. But Scott Burrell has asked, how difficult will the retain list be now? And his feeling is 6 months ago he'd have put every player on it. Now he says, I suspect your mind has been changed a little. And are you planning to make changes to your backroom staff over the summer? Maybe we should have told him he was coming on.
Well, the backroom staff one will be easy. No, like I say, we're not going to, and I wouldn't expect too many wholesale changes. I think I've said that once or twice already this evening. So I don't expect too many wholesale changes. Again, you want to keep getting good people around you as part and parcel, and it's hard, but it's part and parcel of building a successful team. And yeah, we're lucky enough to have good staff, good players, characters, strong mindset, strong mentality, abundance of resilience. So yeah, you wouldn't want to change too much of that. You would want to add to that if that answers or covers the question.
Chris Kilmore has asked, what was the reason behind letting Sam Osborne go?
No particular reason. You have to deal and wheel. You have to, sometimes you have to one out, one in type of scenario. Sam wasn't playing regular. He'd come in on numerous occasions and obviously wanted to play. I couldn't guarantee him a regular place in the team. I could tell, and he was getting a little bit disheartened, a little bit upset with it. Great lad, as I said that before and I'll say it again, great lad, talented lad. But sometimes you just have to change one or two things. You just have to maybe stir the pot a little bit. And I was never going to be able to keep everybody. It's at the end of the day, it's a business, not just a football club, but it's a business. So trading in and trading out is part and parcel of a manager's job. So look, I didn't want lads to be in the dressing room if they were unhappy. Sam was brilliant. Sam Osborne was brilliant. I'll tell you another one that was brilliant as well. Adam Marriott came in and laid it on the line and spoke openly, spoke honestly to me as well. So a lot of that people won't see, and I really appreciated those honest conversations with the lads. The two lads, Maz, came in and told me what he can do, how he can help us, and what he can't do. And he was brilliant. Maz had opportunity to leave as well, which he stayed. He hung in there because he could probably see what we were doing, and he helped us. And his goal against Dagenham as well. So I take my hat off to Sam Osborne, Adam Marriott, the honesty that they've shown and the way they went about their business and the help they've given us, even though they were disappointed lads for not being in the team. And that for me is professionalism and is personal standards, and I hope the two of them go on and do really well for themselves, because I'll not forget the help and the honesty that they that they came into my office with when they were disgruntled, when they were upset, and I thought it was different class from the two of them, to be honest.
And of course, Adam Marriott scored that great goal against Elfchurch. The
Yeah,
bicycle
bicycle
kick.
kick.
Yeah, that was a great goal, that was.
Yeah, he was out injured for a week after. At his age, he shouldn't be doing things like that.
It was a great goal. Sue Watson's asked, having succeeded in staying in the National League and being the great manager that you are, by turning the team into an
She never
exceptional
said
winning team, she did. Will next season we'll be aiming for promotion, and will it be as exciting and rewarding as this season has been?
I think we'll take a consolidation
Yeah.
season as fans, wouldn't
I
we?
think we would.
You know, a boring 14th
Yeah.
is absolutely fine with me. I don't know about
Exactly.
you guys, you know.
The
I'd
past
have
two
to
seasons
agree.
that we've had, I think having a little bit of stability might do us a bit of good, to be fair.
Yeah.
Not that we're not ambitious, but you know, I think it's been a hell of, you know, the last few months, and I'm just happy that we're here again. And I think the town of Boston have you guys and all your backroom staff to thank for doing such an amazing job of keeping us in this, you know, division. And 14 years, it was a hell of a long time. Yeah, a hell of a long time to come back here, and you see lots of clubs come up and drop off again, and it takes a few more years. You've seen it with Scunthorpe as well at the moment. They're, you know, currently in the playoffs, but they're struggling to get back up. It's the second time of asking now in the National North. So, you know, just thank you to you guys, and I think I'll be content with a bit of stability next year.
Yeah. Would you take 14th now, Graham? Is the question.
You're asking me.
Because I would.
I think we've been there as players as well. You know, when you get up, it has been a bit chaotic, hasn't it? The last 2 years, it's been a roller coaster, and I think they're great words. A little bit of stability and settle down. But yeah, look, it's football is there to be enjoyed. You got to consolidate. You got to become a competitive league, national league team before you can start. What's the saying I use? Crawl, walk, and then run. So you got to be a competitive, consolidate, competitive. All those type of words that you use. But yeah, look, if you want to give me 14 now, I'll take it. but I'd always aim higher. I'd always want more. But yeah, listen, I'm not daft. I know the achievements that the players have done, and trying to get them achievements year upon year is nigh on impossible in football. What they achieved last year as well. So yeah, look, we have to consolidate. We have to steady down. Let's enjoy, and let's try and establish ourselves in the National League and be a strong competitive football club, and then maybe build from there and go from there. But I think stability is a key word that we've used here this evening.
It hasn't been stressful, but I used to have long hair. Yeah. Wibberton Pilgrim has messaged in on X and said, how much do you think the crowd at the Jakeman's Community Stadium impacts the team's performance, and what's been the best atmosphere you've experienced so far as Boston manager?
I think you can't look past the scenes of, I mentioned earlier on with James Gale's goal. You can't look past the scenes there at Sutton. I think I went for a little jog up the line as well, to be honest. I think you just get emotional and you get carried away with those things. But, you know, the Woking goal as well, the last, we absolutely played really, really well that day, and to find ourselves 1-0 down, 2-1 down, was tough to take, you know. And Jay Rowe's late goal, you know, there was lots of moments. There was lots of really, really good moments. But Saturday was brilliant. Saturday was different class. Do you know? I think the fans, you know, Saturday we were hanging on a little bit. And the fans, you know, I know they were a little bit anxious, but they still got behind us and they give us that energy. And so many times here at the stadium, the Jakeman's, the fans have given us extra energy because we've asked a lot of the same 16, 18 lads. We've asked an awful lot of them. And you do get tired, you do get fatigued mentally and physically, and when that was kicking in, I think the fans recognised that, and they got behind the lads. And those late goals are not down to luck. Them late goals are down to a number of factors: fitness, belief, confidence. Don't forget the fans. The fans drag you over the line as well. And yeah, I think the Sutton, the goal, the late goal, the scenes there, and I'll never forget the scenes that we had here on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
And Chuck Woking in there. So I know you asked for one, but
there's a few.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That is a good thing, really. Matthew Nundy's asked, is Jason the best kit man you've ever worked with? That could be a question for all three of you.
I'll let Jay answer that.
He's the funniest, that's for sure.
He does brilliant, and Eddie as well is sort of somebody that just goes under the radar as well with the amount of work he does, especially in the away games and travelling down with his family and making sure the lads and everything's done so professionally. I think we're lucky to have two good characters in there that can, people that probably just get brushed to the side in relation to how the club are progressing and moving in the right direction. Yeah, it certainly makes our jobs a little bit easier having those two in the change room.
And Troy Randalls has asked, what does a day-to-day full-time look like? So next season, obviously, what would it be like?
Work, and more work. It's pretty same as what the lads have been doing, only 2, maybe 3 more days.
Yeah.
It just gives you flexibility to maybe give the lads a day off, or it gives you flexibility to have them in for extra sessions or afternoon sessions. Just that little bit of flexibility. But yeah, there will be more work, there will be more days, there will be more hours. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the lads can buy into it again and can enjoy it. You've got to be careful as well when I say work. I know it's a tongue in cheek, but you got to be careful. You know, with a smaller squad, you don't overcook them, you don't burn them out. So there's that'll take managing as well. It'll take getting used to it from everybody at the stadium, not just the players or the staff, but all the girls downstairs and the groundsmen and the kit men, as you mentioned earlier on, the chef. The whole club will have a big part to play in it. But it'll be interesting. We will have teething problems. We will have 1 or 2 issues. We will have 1 or 2 little things that need getting used to, need fine tuning, which is fully expected. So it'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how the process goes.
Yeah, and it's a question that you might not get to answer, but Kelvin Hallam has asked, will there be an annual Boston v Notts County friendly? Well, I think after last season, I'm not too sure about that one. There was a bit of a fight at the end of it. There was a fight in the tunnel.
Right.
Well, then there'll definitely be one, yes. We don't mind a bit of
but
that.
he's also asked, could you be using Notts County academy players to give them a platform for first team football? He's named some players, so if you want to take a note, players such as James Sanderson, Charlie Gill and Madhu Sisse would be excellent additions for you.
Okay.
So I'll give you them on a note later.
Just on that then, so we'll spin that question a little bit. Would you find, how will you, will there be connections with your ex-clubs? Will there be connections, obviously, with the Sheffield side of things, where you are? Will you look to go into there? We mentioned about the League of Ireland last time.
That's right, we did, yeah.
I don't know why we mentioned that. But, I'm not expecting you to say, yes, we're going to go over the pond and get everybody from over there. But it'll be interesting to see how you guys approach this. Will you, like I say, will you go to the Sheffield? I mean, we got Frankie Maguire from Sheffield United, didn't we, as well? So he's come from there in that area. Obviously before you guys came along, but will you try and delve into it? I suppose it's a case of what you know and who you know, isn't it, really? Yeah,
there's a lot of variables that have to fit. There's a lot of choice out there. Again, location wise, we're not actually as close to clubs as we would like to. We're a little bit. I think we're an hour from anywhere really. But yeah, well, look, we tried when we come in at first. We tried to tap into the Lincoln City with obviously Oisin Gallagher and things like that. So we are trying to open them doors and create them relationships. It don't really matter where the players are from or where they come from. Once they fit into what we're trying to do, once they fit into our changing room, and once they have the correct DNA and the correct character that we're looking for. So yeah, we'll have a look at anything from anywhere, even if it is, as you say, Ireland, or even if it is from Sheffield United, or even if it is from Sheffield Wednesday. We just look for good players.
Just on Oisin Gallagher as well. People cover as well, because he was absolutely brilliant for us. I loved watching him. So.
Yeah.
How is he? Just any update on him? Have you spoken to him recently?
He's back. He's back on the grass. He's moving. He's mobile, which is good. But yeah, we've had a tough time, not just with Oisin, but we've had a tough time with injuries. I think the club has lost Cam Gregory for a number of months. We've lost Millsy as well.
Mitch
we
Roberts
lost
and Dan
Mitch,
Adson.
Mitch for a season,
Yeah, of course,
Dan Adson.
yeah.
You know, these are big players you're losing, and that's not easy. That's not easy to keep going and to keep a smile on your face and to keep the spirits high. But them lads, while out through injury, they've been like off-field captains to the lads. They're getting in around them and they're geeing them up, and there's been a real good harmony amongst them and in the dressing room. And fair play to them. And they didn't just down tools. They kind of got behind the dressing room and the club, because players form friendships, and you just want to see your teammates do well. And it must have been tough on them lads, missing the games, missing out on that run, and missing out on football is hard as a player, irrespective. But that was some serious injuries that we picked up this season.
And talking of injuries, and Mitch Roberts, I believe he's back in training now, is he? Is it too soon on Monday for him to get one more appearance, or...?
Oh, they're not going to give us that, I don't think.
No.
No.
Not this.
I don't think they'll give us away. Maybe
Is he
again.
working for Maidenhead?
No.
Do you want me to give you the team now?
Yes, please. No.
Would you be looking at using the other players? Is probably the better way of approaching it? So
Yeah.
the guys that haven't had a chance or haven't had as many minutes, or would that enter your mind, or is it a case of sticking with what you've tried and tested, really?
We'll have a look. We'll have a look at Maidenhead. We'll sit down. We'll have a look at them, the system, the shape, their strengths, their weaknesses, and we'll pick a team accordingly. At this moment in time, I couldn't genuinely sit here and tell you my team for Monday. I wouldn't know it. The three of us will bang heads together over the next 2-3 days, and we'll put something together, I'm sure.
There's also the other side. There's a duty of care to the integrity of the boys at the bottom. You know?
Of course,
we've got
yeah.
to go out and put the best team out there to hopefully win 3 points.
Yeah.
We've got to do the best for ourselves, because we can still jump another 3 places potentially as well, by the
Yeah.
way. But also Dagenham, Wilston, Maidenhead, they're still battling away down there.
Yeah.
So it's not just a case of just give it
No,
a
yeah,
game.
absolutely.
No, that's
Listen,
true. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, every single player we've got in our squad is capable of being a first team player. It's
Yeah.
been proven. Scotty came in, was outstanding at Yeovil, and Greeny's come on and
Yeah.
done really well, so that's not an issue. But yeah, there is that side of it. I've played abroad, and integrities in relation to certain games and refereeing decisions can be questioned quite a lot when you've been abroad. Not in the UK.
Not in UK,
Not in
no.
the UK.
That means he's played in Scotland.
Is that right? Yeah.
He's played in Scotland as well.
And of course, league placings equals different prize money as well. So
That means more
that's-
money for them to buy more players.
Exactly. So yeah.
So there you go.
Of course.
So if we win, we get a drink. If we
Yeah,
don't win, we get
yeah.
water.
That's it, exactly. And of course, next season we already know we're going to be playing Carlisle, Morecambe from League 2, Brackley have got promoted, and obviously Truro from the National League North, and obviously South they've come up. Are there games you're looking forward to? Hopefully Truro won't be on a Tuesday night.
Yes, well, Truro,
Truro,
Torquay and Yeovil on a Tuesday night away from home. Carlisle away from home.
If I'm being honest, I haven't even thought that. I haven't even looked that far. Like I said, and we just spoke about Maidenhead there, and game
Yeah.
46 on Monday. So that's probably where our focus is. I haven't. I honestly, genuinely haven't looked at next season in any great depth, other than the players that we've got.
And let's be right, Carlisle coming down is probably the biggest club to come down in this
Yeah.
for quite a while.
Yes.
I mean, I know Oldham's a big club and everything like that, but
Yeah.
the fan base that they can get 10-12,000 half the time, and
Yeah.
things like that, so they've gone through a tough time. So it's a hell of an addition to
It is.
the level that we're playing at. But you've got teams coming up the way that are on a bit of a
Yeah.
high as well.
Yeah.
So
Makes
makes
it
it
possible.
tougher. Makes it
Possibility Mark Hughes might be in charge still at Carlisle.
Exactly, things like
So yeah, which I'm sure for you, Graham, would be something special.
Don't forget the two clubs coming down, Morecambe and Carlisle, have been League One clubs.
Yeah.
2 years, was it 3 years back?
Mhm.
So they both had a spell in League One. So you know, even Forest Green, they've had a spell in League One as well.
Yeah.
3 seasons, 2-3 seasons back. So yeah, the competition will be fierce. So without even thinking about it off the top of my head, South End, massive clubs.
And of course, on Monday, a crowd of around 850 Boston fans travelling down to Maidenhead makes for a very good
Fancy
atmosphere.
dress.
Most of them in fancy dress.
I'll
Yeah.
ask you a question. If you was in fancy dress, what would you all wear?
Black shorts and a grey t-shirt.
Ah!
You'll go as a football manager.
Ah!
You thought it was fancy dress tonight.
Yeah, we got his Man United shirt on, hasn't he?
I've got me Man United underpants. Jesus.
We won't edit that out. That's fine. That's fine.
Jamie, what would if you?
Come on, Jamie. If you could
Best
go
Sheffield
as a
United
fancy
shirt.
dress, what would you come as?
Best Sheffield United shirt.
Just a Sheffield United shirt.
That is fancy dress indeed. I don't know. Probably a Jimmy wig and a tartan hat and
Oh yeah.
and like one of them.
Very good.
A man in a skirt, Scottish. I can't get over them.
Don't be
Jesus.
jealous, mate.
Man
Don't
in a
be jealous.
skirt.
It's the English and Irishman and Scotsman. You see, that's what it is, isn't it?
That's
To be
it.
fair, you
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
that size with a big green hat on and a 4-leaf clover walking about with all his beard.
Brilliant.
We're happy.
But have you got any more questions, you guys?
I haven't got any stories really from these two when they played back. They must have stories for us. I think Graham just touched on one or two. He said he might have some and we'll get Bully along for the next one. So if you got we need some stories, guys. Something from your playing days from the Sheffield Wednesday era.
Bully's the best one for stories.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who was
I've headed too many balls, mate. I can't remember yesterday.
I could get myself into trouble with some of this stuff. We were lucky enough to play under the same manager, okay? It's his father. Not lawful father, but Paul Sturrock was basically, he was always the gaffer's boy. Anyway,
He knew good players.
just before Graham joined us, my first season at Wednesday, we got promoted under Paul. But we had been comfortably in the playoff positions with about 7-8 games to go. Comfortable, couldn't blow it. We almost blew it. So we had a second last game of the season, we had to go up to Hull, knowing that we needed a result to stay in the playoff positions. And the gaffer, Paul, he knew that we were nervous, And normally after the Friday training, he'd have his team meeting, he'd go through his tactics, set plays, videos, everything like that. So called us into the meeting room, everything like that, boys are in and everything, screens up there, not switched on yet. Gaffer walks in and we're sitting waiting on this tactical masterclass in relation to trying to get into it. And he walked in with a bottle of red wine, a box of red wine, box of white wine, box of Blue Wicked, box of some sort of beers and everything like that. Just sat down and says, "This is a Friday before the biggest game of the season. Lads, have a beer." So he's told loads of stories. He has a way of getting you completely switched off for the pressure.
Completely bladdered.
No, completely switched. He says, "Listen, lads, I know a lot of you are driving." He says, "Just have one. Just sit down, let's just have a bit of chat." And we sat there for about an hour and a half, just talking nothing in relation to it. But there was a lot of pressure building, because we had suddenly we're comfortable. They went a run of form, which shit, we could blow this year. That was his way. That was his quirky way of doing things. And there's about, I'm sure he'll have a lot more. He worked under Paul a lot more. There's so many stories that ways he does it differently, but it's just amazing. So they touch it. And we went up and we won the game 2-1. And we ended up getting promoted via the playoffs. So ultimately, you're a genius if it works, and then people question it if you, well, that story doesn't come out if you don't do it. But just little things like that, which was he was brilliant. He was brilliant.
Yeah, we asked Graham, I think, of this as well. But do you take parts of him in your own coaching as well? Do you?
Listen, the biggest thing for me has been straight down the line with players. Be honest with players. The amount of times he told me things I didn't want to hear, but ultimately, further down the line, you actually appreciate the honesty. And too many times in football, I think some people will tell you things you want to hear, rather than what you need to hear. And he just told you what you needed to hear. And that honesty, I think, is probably the biggest thing I've taken forward. Because he had 2 staff members as well, assistants, that were also singing from the same hymn sheet, which was brilliant. It was perfect for what we needed at that time. So. That's probably one of the biggest things I've taken forward, and I'm guessing he might say something similar along those lines as well, because he's certainly straight down the middle with the players as well.
Brilliant. Right, well, thank you very much, the three of you, Jamie, Graham and Lee. Thank you for coming and chatting to us once again, and once again congratulations on keeping Boston United in the National League. Thank you as well to Stedders and to David. We'll be back as well very soon with a preview of the season, or a look at the season and the tables as well.
Yeah, we predicted the National League tables.
We did a prediction
before. We did a whole one.
At the beginning of the season?
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season.
So it's now time to reveal how
nobody
well
knows.
we did.
Nobody knows what you...
No, well, we did it live on a feed, didn't we, Jim?
Yes,
so now we review it again and see who's got the most correct.
So people know what you originally said?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah. I said Boston would finish 18th, so I'm very close, very close. These two...
I was 19th, it was just above, the one place above the relegation zone.
I said 19th as well.
Yeah, 19th as well, so...
Not far off it, isn't it?
No.
We could be 14th though. That's the crazy
Yeah,
part about
so
this.
we might be
By the
wrong.
end of the
Hopefully we'll be
playoff
wrong.
Monday, we
Could
could be
19th
14th.
potentially, or not?
No, I don't think we could actually now. No, I don't think we can. So
We're saying for 14.
yeah, hopefully we'll be 14th. Yeah, I hope I get it wrong. But no, thank you very much. And as I say, we will be back very soon indeed for another edition of Up the Pilgrims.